Good morning, everybody. I hope most of you, hopefully, everybody's in bed or getting ready to go to bed, or depending on where you live, you might be early in the morning. It's only 1:30 a.m. here, but the reason for this video is a little bit different than some of my other videos. I did want to show you that I did finish the quilt from the last video, and it's all bordered. It's all got the flange border on it, and it's hard to hold it so the camera can see it, but it is finished. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I know some of you may have seen it in other posts of other channels, and it's also on my channel under the post. It is posted, and it's the one I did for the paper piercing, and this is the one I did. And what's really strange is I have never ever done paper piercing before. I knew how to do it, I just never physically did it. And so it's like, well, why not start? And this again is you've heard many of you I've said, I don't sew through the paper, and I did show you one video of it. But the idea behind doing the flange border this way is it makes it look more like a picture frame than flange, but it is still flange. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I'm sure many of you have seen from pictures, is my Borgello quilt. I'm not able to really take it down so you can see, and hopefully that didn't make anybody dizzy of what I just did, moving the camera. But this is my Borgello quilt. This quilt is 9 feet, 9 feet long and 8 feet wide. It's actually about 8.5. The reason it's so big is because it goes on my big California king bed. It might be longer than that. It's hard to measure it up here. I can't really open it because it is so big and it is very heavy. But this is a Borgello. I just didn't like on most Borgellos you see them where it's got the wavy looking line. Mine does not. And because I didn't want it that way. Mine's actually done in sections. It's still done with you cut the sizes. Like it goes from this little tiny one is a 1 inch. I don't know if you could see it. This goes the smallest right here, which was cut at a 1/2 inch. This tiny strip was a 1/2 inch, and it was 1/2 inch, 3/4, and then I just went up there up by 1/2 inch increments, and it went up from there. I did mine as I do. Most of you know my quilts. I just like the scrappy. And somebody from one of the channels mentioned, when you do scrappy the way I do, nothing really has to match, but it all makes a beautiful design. And I believe that's the reason I like doing scrappy, because I don't have to worry about, is this blue going to match with this blue, or this red. It doesn't matter what you use. It can all be done. And this is not just in my quilts. I do sew clothing, and my clothing is scrappy to some extent. Such as I do have an apron that I wear when I do sewing because of all the strings. My apron is different than most people's. I don't want to mess with strings, tying things. Mine is more on the lines of I guess you call it kimono, but it is scrappy. And I put one on just for this video so you could see. It is scrappy. I can't see. And you can see it is scrappy. It is made from like t-shirt material, which I did cut a bunch of t-shirts apart to make it. But it's all kind of palm tree looking things, but it's purples and blues and greens. Reason I like this is because on a regular apron, if you wear a regular apron and it's got pockets, most of the time those pockets will end up getting full of little strings. I don't like lifting in there and finding strings in my pockets. So my pockets are all on the sides. Yeah, I had to pause the video so I could move my camera, which is the other reason for this video. Many of you heard me type in the chat, or in the chats on live, that I also do rug weaving, which I have made my own peg looms, which a peg loom is nothing more than anything you weave that has a peg. An example, this is considered a peg loom, and I have several of these, and you can put material on these and you weave back and forth, across, down, up. You can use yarn, you can use fabric, you can use rubber bands. They come in this shape, and they also come round. These are all peg looms. Of course, I didn't make these, but these are made out of really hard, durable plastic. I wouldn't recommend you throwing them because you would break something, and they're quite heavy. The ones, or if many of you look in that corner, I'm sure many of you have seen a hula hoop. It is a real hula hoop. It lights up, see? This is also a loom that I used to make a round rug. Pretty much anything can be used to make something. And I just thought, oh, I'll try it. It's cool. It makes a round rug, which my cats keep stealing. So I gave up trying to take it away from them. They like stealing my round rugs because they're small. And I actually made them as cat beds. Sorry about that. I had to get that back. Sorry. I'm going to try not to fall doing this. But what I wanted to show you is, again, I do make peg looms. They're made from wood, and that's what's under this Bordello quilt. It is very heavy. This one's a big one. I can get it, move this Bordello without this thing falling. Sorry, my back's to the camera. Okay. This is a traditional peg loom. It'll stay. Let me move my camera down so you can see the whole loom. And what makes this a loom is this is 2x4s. And then on the bottom, down here, and on the top is a little tiny a headless nail. I don't like the ones with the heads on them because when I go to remove the rug, it's a pain to get them off. So I just do the headless nails, and they are exactly a ½ inch from this corner all the way over there and all the way down. What's on these corners on both sides, the left and the right, and then the same with the bottom, and then I've got 2 in the middle are those eye hooks. Usually there's a little clasp that goes over, but this is just around and it's screwed in there. The reason for that, and you see this is just a it's a big rod. Some people use whatever, but the rod goes through the eyelets because you have to have something, and this rug is weaved around it. You have to have something to keep the rug this way, or the rug will go this way. because it is, you could jump on it and it's not going to go anywhere. You have to have this part tight. You don't want it too tight. Excuse me. But you can, these are done with scraps of fabric. You can use yarn. I prefer the scraps of fabric. I prefer fabric such as t-shirts make wonderful, wonderful rugs because it stretches, making what they call t-shirt yarn. And you just stretch it and it'll stick together. And it is virtually impossible to rip apart. At least I'm not that strong. But you just weave it in and out of here. I won't show you how in this particular video how it's weaved, but it's I weave, as you can see, these two are weaved, and there's 4 strands. I use 4 strands because I like this combination of what it does. As you can see, it's not just one color. It makes it be different colors interweave together. As you can see here, it weaves 2 colors together at once when you use 4 strands. But that is what, and then I just bent those over. If somebody is to make one of these, I will warn you, these nails are very sharp. I've put it on the floor before, and the nails, they bite the toes, and they hurt. So if you ever do something like this, I would recommend putting it on legs so those nails are not on the floor, because they are a little bit dangerous. So you doing something like this, you do have to be really careful how you go about the ones on the floor, because they will get your toes. There's yeah, I've cut my toes many times on it. And they're also, animals tend to want to lay next to it, but these nails are really sharp. For being headless nails, they're actually very sharp, so you have to be really careful. But these looms, I mean, this one here, here's my measure. This loom here is, I never can remember what size this particular loom is. This one's 37 by 33. So this one is a fairly large loom, but you don't have to make them that large. You can make them tiny, tiny, tiny. You can make them a little 2 by 3 loom, because all you're doing is learning. Make a little tiny one, and you got a pot holder. Or these make great for if you make a smaller one and do it this tight, because of what it's made out of. This particular one, t-shirts, is t-shirts withstand heat. So, and because it's stiff, you could use it as you take something out of the oven, and sorry, I'm standing, so I'm trying to hold myself up. Take something out of the oven and put something on. It's not going to be the problem. This webbing here, the same thing. I have a bunch of these purple t-shirts from when I had my fireworks business, and I bought t-shirts for all my employees, and they all wore the t-shirts. And when it was done, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with all these t-shirts I have left? I cut them into webbings. And yes, I know, for all those people that do the t-shirt things, I'm sorry, I have a few left, and I'm thinking about attempting a t-shirt. I don't necessarily think I'm going to do a t-shirt quilt, but I want to be able to at least say, yes, I did 4 squares of a t-shirt quilt. Simply to prove to myself that, hey, I could do this too. Because a t-shirt quilt isn't just something, it just isn't anything I'd be interested in. So my t-shirt quilt will be this purple, and no, I'm not a fan of purple. at all. It was just the particular color seemed to fit the business. And I will leave the design that's on the t-shirt as part of the little 4-patch quilt, or however I decide to do it. I can't remember. I think there's like 15 t-shirts in there. So it would make actually a decent size quilt. But that's what I have been working on, and I'm always working on this. It sits out. When I get tired of sewing, I go play with it. So I guess you could call it, it's not really an unfinished project because I work on it. But because it's, in my case, it is labor intensive because I'm constantly moving. So I can't do it as much as I would want to because it does start hurting. So I have to be, I can do, 3-4 rows of this, which to me a row is like this. So, you're talking a section this big, and I have to stop, and then I have to go up, because it's enough. And it's a type of project where imperfections, who cares? If colors don't match, you can also plan your design. Like a lot of people plan a design of something with colored crayons or chalk or markers or colored pencils. You could do the same thing to this. You would just have to match your, whatever you're using to weave with, you would just need to match it to that design. And the difference is you would have to know how wide you wanted your strips. Or if you wanted to make a actual design in here, you could, to where this is one color, this is another color, this isn't. But to do that, you change colors in here. And you don't tie them together when you change colors. You actually cut a little slit and slide the one inside the other, and then pull them. And then they don't pull apart. Like here you can see the little knots. These are knots where material came together. And the reason I let them show, and sounds really weird, because I like the feel of them. I like the feel of those little knots. So I make sure they're on the front and not the back. I don't know. I just think they feel really, I think they feel good when you walk on them. And then when I have the rug done, I put, because they are slick, very, very slick. So you don't ever want to do one without putting a backing on it. And the backing I use is, you can buy it in a roll. It comes in a big long roll, and mine's back in the corner, so I'm not going to go back there because I don't want that thing falling down. But it comes in a roll, and what it is shelf liner, and it feels like rubber. And I hand sew it to the back. And the stuff will go through the washing machine. It goes through the dryer just fine. I've tested it multiple times. I have one that sits on the floor that the dogs think is theirs, and I don't want to make you dizzy, but so let me pause the camera and I will put the camera over there so you can see what it actually is as a whole rug. Hopefully I don't make anybody dizzy, but that's one of the big rugs that I have, and that's the one the dogs and the cats and everybody plays with. That one's been, it gets washed at least 2-3 times a week because I have so many animals. And as you can see, because this is my craft room, I have dogs, cats, they think this is their room. So I have separate rugs that have to be on the floor because I don't like cleaning up their hair. But the floor is actually hardwood. But I can't have a hardwood in this room because, no, I will fall more than I do. That's why I try to stay out of the kitchen if at all possible, because I do fall. Hopefully I didn't make anybody real dizzy from all that moving around. I just wanted to show you. Then today I had to unfortunately open up my fur babies animal hospital. They had some of their little toys that had boo-boos. So as you can see, the monkey, they have like 15 monkeys and they're so cute. But they had to have surgery today. The monkeys had to have surgery. Let me get these monkeys. And they can't get in here so they can't hear them. But look how cute these little monkeys are. And no, I did not make them. I got them at actually Walmart. And what's funny about them is they make noise. And what that noise is created from is a water bottle. They come with a water bottle. Let me see if I can get this water bottle out. They come with a water bottle, but I just replace it with current drinking water bottles. And it goes inside. And what I did with him, because I got tired of them always moving and getting water bottles out, I took some of my scraps and pushed it inside there, and I pushed it into the head. And then I of course I torment them with their monkeys, but they have like 15 of them out there, and they're pretty much all the same, just some are, instead of yellow, there's a pink, a green, an orange. They're just all different colors. And then this bottle just goes up inside there, and it makes a crunchy noise. And of course, when they're a new bottle, it really makes a crunchy noise, but they don't really tear up their toys. It just once in a while, like it'll get a string from a seam coming undone, and I have to surgically repair him, and that's why he's in here. And he's repaired. Oh, I got a stack of monkeys, like 15 of them over there. This one had to be super repaired. Get back right now. Because they ripped a hole in the side of him, and I had to repair it. What this is I've never figured out what this is. I call it a snake. And it's fairly long, but it is noisy. It is a noisy thing. And so when the dogs play with it, 2 of them will go. And it's like, seriously? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't need to play snake. But one dog prefers this one, like the bull mastiff. He's hilarious. The dogs have like 8 of those snakes, all different colors. But the bull mastiff, he doesn't like the dogs fighting over toys. So when he hears them fighting over a toy, he comes in, and because he's so big, he doesn't hurt them, but he just, because dogs, when they're wrestle fighting, and they live together, of course they get a little aggressive type thing. He just goes in between them, which causes him to drop the toy. He picks the toy up and takes it upstairs to his room up there. And then they all look at me like, and start whining. It's like, you're on your own. You were fighting over it. So, I don't know. Your brother took it away. I don't know what to tell you. And then when he figures they've had enough time, well, I call it brother timeout. He will bring the toy back and put it. They have a big, huge toy box in my bedroom, and it's got, I don't know, one day they found, I can't put like things on my stove like to wipe your hands with because they'll rip them off. So they got one day, it was a towel looking thing, and they think it's their tug-of-war toy. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not messing with it. So I didn't want them, ripping it. So what I did is I took it, tied 2-3 knots in it, so they can't rip it. And they grab a hold of the knots, and they don't, like I said, they don't really tear apart the toys. But that's what I was doing today. I was repairing, had to open the animal hospital. So dogs were all upset because I took their monkey and their snake even though there's like 15 monkeys and a whole bunch of snakes, but that specific one, oh my word, it was like the world had come to an end. Well, again, everybody, thank you for watching, and as if you liked the video, you can click the thumbs up, or if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe or watch it without subscribing. And remember, everybody, please, please be kind to each other, and push out those positive vibes as much as we can. Leave the negativity to the wind, you know. It's always better, even though negative attracts negative, get it out of your brain, you know. Leave the negativity alone. And thank you again. Bye-bye.